Yep, we sure did.
which is very fitting for the ADHD podcast.
Yeah, like in the middle of the podcast, I was like, wait a second, we never even like introduced what we're talking about, and so
I was just about to say that, but if you're all over the place, I mean, that's pretty fitting.
This is episode 38 of the Halcyon Frequency podcast. And
38?
I'm blind, and I'm hosting this. 38! The number's getting bigger, and it ain't getting smaller. I'm blind, and I'm hosting. You just heard Jess's voice. Hi, Jess. How are you?
I'm well. Hello. I'm a little sleepy.
This episode is airing live October 9th, 2022. And we actually have a guest host on for this episode who hosts his own podcast and is a lovely friend from across the pond from me. How you doing, Fahloin?
Hello. I'm doing well, thank you. I've had a great day today.
So, some people listening to this show may have heard your voice before. Some of us have guested on your show. So I'm just kind of curious. Could you like tell the audience a little bit about who you are and the show that you run?
Yeah, I can do that. So I'm Fahloin, or Fa, as a lot of people call me. Actually, I'm Fahloin, but FD Squares in your team. When I found Twitch, she started to call me Floin, and then that's my name from now on Twitch, from then on. But yeah, I stream a variety of games on Twitch, and I lean towards survival games and strategic games. And I also, as you said, I have a podcast called ActiveCast where I interview people, and both of you have been on there actually. And
Yep.
I interview people about movement and exercise and training for specifically for gamers and streamers and people who sit still a lot. So it's basically most people, but it's a lot about inspiring people to move more and to get more healthy, because it's physical health is very much connected to the mental health, and we know that the mental health it's a thing that is getting worse in our society. So yeah.
For me, it's hard to tell if it's something that's getting worse or if it's something that we're just becoming more aware of, and the last 2 years have just been particularly bad.
You can see it in the statistics. It's getting worse. It's both in US and in Europe. It's the numbers are not awesome, but there's also more awareness, of course.
But yeah, I'm very happy to have you on this show finally. This is something that we've like been tossing around a little bit, and like, you know, we were kind of talking about your show a little bit before the official recording of this podcast I guess started, when we were kind of in the preamble, which we like to do.
Yeah.
But you know, actually being on your show was a whole lot of fun, quite frankly.
Agreed.
At least for the episode that I was on, I got the opportunity to talk about like some stuff that I used to do in sports that doesn't really come up on other shows very often due to, you know,
You surprised me.
you work in games, not sports.
Yeah. It was awesome to have both of you, because I get to know the people kind of. I mean, we have our like paths have crossed before, like for a couple of years now. But so it was nice to sit down with you and talk to you and listen to your stories, because there's stuff coming up that's not like that we don't usually talk about. And I know you, Blind, you really surprised me with your history in sports.
But like, kind of elaborating on that brief point that you touched on about how exercising releases good chemicals in your brain. We kind of have this little study that I'm staring at in front of us that you linked earlier. Do you want to elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah, well, I can do that. I mean, it's they call exercise they call it the exercise pill. So it's like it's been like 10 years or so, 10, 15 years. They started to like connect physical health with mental health, and it's today a lot of physicians, they like give exercise as a like a pill. Instead of taking meds, you go out run. And there have been a lot of studies showing that it's very good for your brain, like your brain health. So it's not, if you want to like get better memory, or if you want to protect your brain against brain damage, or if you want to protect your brain against stress and anxiety and depression and so on, it's exercise that is the thing to do, because of different reasons, but it also to better your memories and stuff. And before we thought that like you can do crosswords and Sudoku and stuff like that, but it's not really good for the brain. It's good for the brain, but it doesn't do much of a difference. but you can see that in exercise. If you do exercise, if you do cardio regularly, you will have a way healthier brain. And we also seen it in like people who are like going into dementia or Parkinson and stuff like that. You can see that it doesn't stop the progression in the illness, but it takes longer, and it smoothes out the way towards the illness, which is a fantastic thing, to be honest. And there's no meds which can do that. And also meds for anxiety and depression, it doesn't really work as the exercise does. But if you are in a depression or if you have a lot of anxiety, you should take the medicines, because that's where they are good. But to protect yourself against it, if to take you out of it, exercise is the thing to do, basically.
Yeah, I've noticed that.
Yeah.
Just myself. I've also heard that it's exercise is really, 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 really important, like for people with ADHD. Actually, it can help, especially with like increasing dopamine levels and focus.
Yeah,
it's like a stimulant, but it's not. I mean, it is, but it's not.
Yeah, I mean, it is, because it's actually what you're doing. When you do exercise, you get about 20% more blood to your brain, which means that you have your brain have a better capacity to form new neurons and brain cells, which means that you will have a stronger brain, and your memory will get better and so on, which means that you will have a better focus. And also, not to go into like the neurobiology of this, but there's a protein that gets produced when you do exercise, which is shown to protect your brain very, very much, and also to help you focus. And it does help a lot with ADHD and probably focus.
Yeah, I've been trying to take exercise breaks. It's hard to keep up with it, but like when I find myself unable to focus, like exercise break.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you should do. And I mean, if you sit down and work, even if you just stand up and walk around your table for 1 minute or whatever, that's the like makes the world for the brain. So, and even the whatever you do, go out in the evening and walk around your house. That's the best thing you can do. If you want to maximize it, it's said that you should do 45 minutes of cardio exercise 3 times a week. And it's sometimes it's hard for people to get 45 minutes in 3 times a week, but that's the optimal thing, kind of.
Yeah. So this past weekend, actually, Celentri and I adopted a puppy. And she is puppy. Okay, like lots and lots of energy.
Yeah.
And so we've been also, okay, so it's like it was the perfect timing, because not only did we get a puppy, but the weather has decided that it's now autumn and not summer anymore. So it's like between that, like the weather suddenly being very nice to walk in and stuff, plus a puppy, like I would say like probably tripled or maybe tripled the amount of time we've been spending outside this past week. And like I have noticed a difference.
Yeah. I mean, animals, like if you go out with your cat or you're walking your dog and so on, it's perfect, because it forces you out.
I mean, we have our other dog, but he's pretty chill, like he's an older man now. And so he's happy to sleep all day and like go outside maybe like every now and then and like go for one longer walk. But now that we have the puppy, we're like, oh gosh, we have to take her out like 10 times a day. And yeah, we've been walking for like an hour and a half, 2 hours a day this last week.
That's good.
Yeah.
It's really good. So
basically adopt a puppy. No, I'm just kidding.
Get a puppy.
Don't do that unless you're prepared. It's a lot of work.
Did you ever get a name?
Maybe.
It'll be puppy forever.
Yeah, we came up with a name, but we haven't announced it entirely yet.
It can be hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, then there's me over here, where I just walk to and from my grocery store, and I do my little exercises at home because, like, not owning a car and having to get anything requires walking. So that kind of forces me to probably walk maybe a bit more than the average person, especially on my days off. On my stream days, when I'm working, it's literally like 13 to 15-hour work days. Like I just I'm at my computer, either sitting or standing from like 9 a.m. until like 11 o'clock at night. So I don't generally move too much on my work days, but when I'm not working, I just kind of like come out of a comatose and then I just go for walks constantly.
Yeah, I mean that's what I mean. What I like is sometimes it's hard for people to get out, and you sit by your computer 8 hours or whatever, how long you work. But it's important to take those breaks. And if you go to gamers and streamers, I think streamers could be a little bit better to take those shorter breaks. It's enough with 1 to 2 minutes, and it's the same thing when you're working. It's like if you're working that amount of hours, you should absolutely take a small break every hour. Just like walk to the kitchen and back again or whatever. It makes a massive difference compared to if you just stand still.
Yep.
Yeah.
Not much distance to my kitchen, but
I mean,
it's like 5 steps.
Yeah.
But
So make it 10 times.
let's do some like circles.
Yeah, exactly. But as I said, anything is very good. Like just take some steps around, like go away 5 steps from your chair and back again. That's better than nothing. And I mean, walking a lot during a week is very good. To get the best effect, you need to raise your pulse for 45 minutes. You basically need to run or bike or rowing machine or CrossFit or whatever, something that raises your pulse a lot. That's what really makes a huge difference. But whatever you do, like the smallest thing is better than nothing.
Like hiking up a mountain.
Like hiking up a mountain, that is really good.
Yeah,
Ooh,
I did
love
an overnight backpacking, or one night backpack, not last weekend, but the weekend before. And the first day was like super, super easy. It was like 7 kilometers from the parking lot to the camp, and it's like almost no elevation gain, like a slight elevation gain, but it was fine. Set up camp, ate pierogi. It was good. We made corned beef pierogi, and I brought sauerkraut that I made, and then we camped overnight, and it was great. And then we did I think it was 28 kilometers total with like 1,400 meter elevation gain.
Oh, wow.
On day
Hold
2.
on, let me convert that real fast.
From the sorry about the
28 kilometers is 17.4 miles.
and from base camp to the top of the mountain back down to base camp took us 11 hours, and then we had to pack up and then get to the parking lot by 11 o'clock at night. So we got back down to camp at like 8 p.m. and we're like, all right, we got 6 kilometers left. Go.
Hiking is good.
we got back to the parking lot. It was like 30 minutes before they closed the gate.
Oh wow.
Because they locked the park gate at 11.
That's a proper adventure.
Mm-hmm.
Man, we should have a Halcyon
Hiking in the
frequency camping adventure, but I think that just might be the two of us.
What? I mean, I don't know. Bloody Drongo seems like the kind of guy we could make go camping.
Yeah, maybe.
Everybody else seems kind of like the glamping style of camping people.
I think Drongo have done that actually.
Glamping is fun too. There's a
Glamping
time and a
is
place for both.
Nothing wrong with bringing a tent and a camper and like a 48 pack of beer. Like,
Yeah.
That's nice. Especially when you go climbing or something, then you like it's super nice.
something I'm actually kind of looking forward to is I'm looking forward to my little sister and my brother-in-law moving back from Quebec, because he's almost a trained, almost a certified climbing instructor and hiking enthusiast. So I'm gonna have another person to go hiking with.
Oh, that's nice.
That sounds super awesome.
I join in on your camping as a guest, and we can go climb.
Yeah, that sounds amazing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of places in British Columbia to go camping. I'm kind of spoiled.
Yeah, it looks kind of nice when you're out.
There's there was a book that was released in the 70s called 101 Hikes in BC, which is essentially just like a list of all of the trails that are now well known. But that was some of the best PR for British Columbian tourism, because like when I went up to Golden Ears the past weekend, like half of the people I saw on the trail weren't from BC and they were from Europe.
I can imagine. I mean, Canada is like, at least me, and I know a lot of others. I mean, for Europeans, that Canada is like the beautiful place to go.
There was a British group. There was 2 Swedish groups. There was a group from Norway. There was a group from Russia. There was there was a lot of different people from all over the place.
I can imagine.
Bunch
Yeah,
of
that sounds
Korean groups.
awesome. I will meet you in Canada and go hiking. Okay.
Okay. We should not do Golden Ears though, because realistically, as much as like those photos looked great, that hike sucks.
Was it just really hard or just
it's
populated?
just a slog. It's like it's a beautiful view at the end. Now, the top is lovely, but like it's not a 1-night trip. It's a 2-night trip. Realistically, to do it comfortably, it's a 2-night trip. Because the 11 hours up and down from base camp, right? And it's all up, and it doesn't stop going up. And then by the end of it, it's more than up. It's like, oh, was I supposed to bring like rock climbing gear? Why is there ropes here? I have to climb what?
Like
What
scramble.
that hike is by the end of it. The last like 500 meters is like vertical, basically.
I mean,
Oh,
that's
so
the
it's
fun
like
part.
playing Firewatch.
There's a sign that says "Hold left, hold the trees."
Sounds like Firewatch. It's like we have a very famous ski race here in Sweden. It's called Vasaloppet. It's 90 kilometers. I'm sorry, Jess. It's like you go
Okay,
with the
hold on.
standard.
Convert
That's a distance.
So it's a 90
I have-
kilometers
I have
long.
it
So it's a ski race.
56 miles.
Yeah, but it's also, and they also do that in the summer as a running race, so ultra marathon. And I was going there, and I asked some friends that had run it, like was it nice? Should I do it? And they were like, no, because it is 90 kilometers of gravel roads. I was like, okay, fuck that.
Oh.
Oh no, yeah. So I'm not doing that.
Never hike up ski. So the hike that I do the most, which I'm actually going to do tomorrow, is Mount Seymour. But we're going to be starting from like the not at the ski hill parking lot, but at the base of the mountain parking lot. So we're going to add an extra like 11 kilometers to the hike. But it's not particularly hard, but there's the one that we generally do is we start at the parking lot for the ski hill, and then we walk up to the top of the mountain, which is like, it's like 7 kilometers. It's not that far, and there's not that much elevation gain, and most of it you're out in backcountry, so like the trails are almost optional. It's kind of lovely, but you can walk up the ski hill in the summer, and I see so many people doing it.
Yeah.
And instead we take the intentionally, like, I don't know, 40-minute longer trail that snakes up the side of the ski hill because it's an actual trail, instead of just like walking up this big gravel road infested with deer flies. It's like, why would you do that to yourself? Direct sunlight on a hill, the air is thinner, there's bugs everywhere. It's like everything about it just sucks. It's like, why would you do that? I can understand riding bikes down it, but
yeah. Also, we use them for like training, for if we were going down to the Alps or something to run in the mountains. We use those ski hills because we don't have mountains where I live. So we use the ski hills to just like run up and down. So like we take 5 hours and run up and down the hill 10 times. It's like super boring, but it's just like I would never like hike or something on those. It's yeah.
Also, Jess, if you want to do a hike in BC, Garibaldi is the one you want to do, because it's like the incline is all switchbacks at the beginning. It's very, very, very well groomed and maintained. It's not gravel, and once you get past the switchbacks, then it's like a 4-hour walk in flat, beautiful plains, and then a scramble up a steep slope, and then you're done.
That sounds really nice. What was it called again?
Garibaldi. It's
Okay.
possibly the most famous hike in BC. The problem with it is it's very hard to get a camping spot because you have to book it like 3 weeks in advance, and they fill up like immediately. Like they open up the booking window and then bang, everything's booked. It's like, okay.
Yeah, that's how it is here too. Like for a lot of our campsites, normally they're booked like a year out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, no, they won't let you book it a year out. You have to, like, when I was trying to book it during the pandemic, and I wasn't able to, so we ended up doing it in a day trip. It's a bit long, but you can do it. It's like, I think 26 kilometers round trip, but like it's not that bad. But it's you were allowed to book the campsite a week in advance back then. So it was like, you have a week, 5 a.m. the website crashes, website comes back up, all the campsites are gone. Great.
Okay. That is what, when I hear that, I'm so glad we have these all man's rights. I can just camp wherever I want.
That's why I like provincial property instead of park property. Like, here's the thing, right? You could, for Garibaldi, take your backpack, walk past the end of the trail, keep walking into provincial property for another 4 or 5 kilometers, and camp back there.
Oh yeah, okay.
But
yeah,
it's much nicer to stay in like the groomed campsites with like the bear boxes, so you don't need to hang your stuff. You can just lock it with a padlock and stuff.
Yeah, that's fair, for sure.
There's some benefits to that.
I assume this trail is related to Mount Garibaldi, and it looks really pretty.
This plays really well on an audio podcast, but I'm going to screenshot the background of my computer right now. That's the view from the peak of Black Tusk, which is right across from Garibaldi. So, yeah, Garibaldi's wonderful. Wonderful.
This is where both me and Jess was like, wow, it's beautiful. Our listeners like, what are they looking at?
Wow.
That's real.
You can climb that, by the way, for those of you who like climbing. Just Google Black Tusk. It's an old volcano that's been dormant for a bajillion years. And people climb the back of it if they're crazy. So you see people sprinting up the mountain with their climbing gear, and I'm just walking with a backpack going, what's wrong with you crazy people? Anyway, I think that we should take a real quick break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about the games that we've been playing this week and some demos.
Okay.
Back right after this.
Hi, this is the Halcyon Frequency Podcast, and I am Belanar. You couldn't hear me in this episode, but stick around for the future episodes for some soothing, rolling R's. Meanwhile, hop over to twitch.tv/Belanar for some building management and strategy games, plus all kinds of variety. Come say hi, and let's go on with the show.
And we're back with episode 38 of the Halcyon Frequency Podcast. I'm still blind, and I'm joined by Jess and Fahloin. And we've got some games that we're going to be talking about that we've been playing this week. And I think Jess wants to tell us all a little bit about Keeping Domes.
Yeah. I've played a lot of Dome Keeper, which I actually played in the last Steam Next Fest as a demo, and I loved it. And so it came out, recently, hold on, scrolls, September 27th. It came out into full release with most of its content, and it's just been like really wonderful. I have some like qualms with it, but it's pleasantly surprising like how much I've enjoyed it. So, Dome Keeper, and you're gonna hate this blind, but it calls itself a roguelike survival mining game.
It's a lovely little tower defense, but it ain't no roguelike.
Yeah. It's a survival mining game with wave defense elements or tower defense elements, whatever you want to call it. You basically are this little dude. I think it looks like a butterfly, like your main character, but you are looking for a relic, at least in the main mode. There's a prestige mode, which I still haven't unlocked, so I don't know what you do in it, but to find this relic, you have to dig, and you have to collect resources, and there's 3 different types, and you bring those resources back to your dome and use them to purchase upgrades. So you can upgrade your character, you can upgrade your dome, you can upgrade your gadgets, and through all that, you have to manage, like, there's 2 different phases. You have to stop the native monsters, which I think are attacking you because you've just sort of invaded their home. You just kind of crash land and like, I'm just going to dig a hole on your planet now. So you have phases where you fend them off and then you go and you dig. And so it's just really fun. I, for one, love games where you dig. I don't know why. I just like digging. I can dig me some holes all day.
Did you ever play SteamWorld Dig?
No, but my chat told me
Gosh,
over
you'd
and
love
over
that
and
game.
over and over again that I would love it.
So I played a Dome Romantique, which was the
I think it's the same game.
yeah, it was like
It was
the
their, I think,
Game
original
Jam version of this game, because like it was originally a game, like a 7-day game jam or something. It might have even been a Ludum Dare. I actually can't remember why, but it was a free game on itch originally. I never did get around to playing this, and the one thing that I really have to say about this, just looking at screenshots and I watched some of your streams and some of FG's streams as well, or rather maybe some of Curious stream. I can't remember who I watched, but I've watched a few people stream this, and I guess the backgrounds remind me of Risk of Rain 1 in a really good way.
Yeah, I think the art is amazing.
I like the backgrounds. Big fan.
One problem that was brought to my attention is, so you kind of have like random color palettes that you'll spawn in with. So like sometimes your materials are one color and your dome and your character take on like a certain color palette. And then another time you'll have like an orangish palette or like a green or a yellow palette, and it's like not necessarily colorblind friendly. Like I had some people in chat telling me that like, yeah, this color palette, I can't see the resources, and so that's not great. But I really liked it. I said I have some qualms with it. Mainly that either I'm really bad at it or I don't feel like their economy is well balanced, because I really, really, really want to upgrade all my stuff. Like they give you so many different upgrade trees because you have your primary gadget. So your dome comes with a primary gadget. It can either be a shield dome, it can be a sword dome, or an... Wait, hold on. No. You can have a laser dome or a sword dome. But then you can have a dome that's an orchard dome, a repellent dome, or a shield dome. And so you can pair like your laser or your sword with like different primary mechanisms of defense. And then your character can be upgraded, and then you also can uncover more gadgets as you dig and search for the relic. That the end game is to just find the relic and bring it to your dome, and I guess you escape with it. It's just really difficult to get enough resources to be able to, I think, properly upgrade your characters, especially if you don't get the right combination of gadgets. And so I feel like there's something that could be done with economy to make the game just feel a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to say fun, but like, I'm one of those players, like, I like feeling OP. Yeah, maybe manageable. Yeah, it's like, so like, when I play Slay the Spire, for instance, you know how when you like get a great deck, it feels awesome. Like you feel amazing, and then this game, I feel like maybe it's a design choice that just inhibits you from hitting that point sometimes because everything is just gated behind having too many resources. And so I find that aspect frustrating because I feel like I'm just getting going, but then the waves get too hard and my dome falls. And I'm like, ugh, now I have to start again. So maybe it's a me thing, but I don't know. I don't want to have to play on easy mode to feel like I'm awesome, but...
I heard others say it's very hard. I also just watch it. I haven't tried it, but it's apparently
it is
very
hard.
Yeah,
but it's really fun. I like it so much because you dig, and the digging phase is super chill. Like the music is really nice, and the composer for the music, Cameron Paxton Music, is really active in the community and like comes and hangs out in streams and stuff, and it's a chill game. And then there's the wave defense mode, which is not chill, but yeah, it's a good game. I recommend it.
So I'm kind of thinking about what you're saying in regards to difficulty, and I think that this is kind of a disconnect that I think some developers have hit, where proper roguelikes are traditionally extremely difficult, but they're not difficult in the way that run-based games are classified as difficult, right? Like, I can sit down and say, that game that I've been playing a bit, Zorbus, is difficult. This is a traditional roguelike. But it's not difficult because the game is hard. The game is hard, but it's difficult because the game doesn't tell you anything. But once you understand the logic behind how the game works and understand what the game wants you to do and understand how to build, that a lot of that difficulty kind of melts away. And that's kind of the way a lot of traditional roguelikes work. Like Jupiter Hell is another example of this. If you know where the guaranteed specific drops are, suddenly it becomes, and how to build towards each boss, suddenly the game becomes a matter of knowledge and then just execution in each individual moment instead of, wow, that enemy did a lot of damage, you know? But a lot of run-based games that call themselves roguelikes, I think a lot of their difficulty comes from speed, dexterity, and not even like memorization, but just often it comes down to just feeling like luck, which is almost always why I avoid games like this, is because I look at it and I go, okay, yeah, no, there definitely is a learning curve here, and there definitely is difficulty here, but the difficulty is like, the difficulty is not going to be the kind of difficulty I know I'm going to enjoy. And that's what often pushes me away from these games that assume the title of roguelike, even though it's vastly incorrect. It's just odd to me that why can't you allow the player to have that knowledge power fantasy? Because that's where the power fantasy comes in traditional roguelikes. It's from knowing how the game works. Once you understand the mechanics, you get that power fantasy because you can replicate that repeatedly. By just simply playing the game according to the game's rules. But a game like this, if it's balanced to like not let you have that does sound really frustrating.
Yeah, I've had a couple runs like on easy mode where you get the power fantasy, you know, like you get to upgrade your laser and it's like, oh man, this is awesome.
Could you obtain that power fantasy on the hard mode if you're better at it?
I don't know. I haven't even made it to hard mode because I've been, well, hey, they have normal, hard, and then like insane, I think, or that's they say that's the mode that they like designed the game intentionally for. Like that's the way the game's intended to be played. And I haven't even made it there. Like I haven't won on intermediate. I think I won once actually. But like I was only able to do it with a certain loadout.
And then you get like permanent unlocks in between, I'm assuming?
Yeah, so basically you start with like your basic dome type, like the laser dome and like your primary gadget and the shield. And then as you win, you unlock new things. Like you unlock the repellent and then you unlock the orchard. And then as you play, you unlock new gadgets. And then you can choose sort of which ones you start with. Like you can choose your basic loadout, but then your like secondary gadgets are a bit random.
I'm trying to unpack this because like the thing. How do I word this? Is it like a flat progression, or is it like you're unlocking things that are just better than the stuff you had before?
Yeah.
So the stuff that you're getting is just straight up better then.
Yeah.
So then it's.
Oh wait, you mean between
time.
runs?
Yeah.
No. They are not better. I thought you meant like the upgrades in game.
Okay.
The upgrades in game are just objectively better, but they're just different tools that you can have. So like in one case, you can get like an elevator that you can throw resources in and it will slowly bring them to your dome. And then you can also get like Drillbert, who it's like a little dinosaur thingy that likes to drill and will drill for you while you're fighting. And then you can also get like, why can I never remember the word for this? The probe. You can get a probe, which like when you turn it on, it will tell you where you can find resources. And so they all have some sort of utility. And I wouldn't say that any of them is stronger than the others.
But knowledge is strength, and utility is strength. So I don't know. It makes me feel icky because it's like you do not like you're not actually playing the game until you have all of the unlocks in the meta progression.
Yep.
Which
that is kind of where I was saying that's where I do take issue with it. Especially because I feel like it can be really hard if you don't get lucky early on to get those unlocks.
Gotcha.
And the difficulty scales quickly. Like the waves get harder and harder fast. And so if you're not having successful mining adventures like in between waves, then you're kind of, it's a lost run.
So the unlocking of skills is kind of luck based on what resources you find.
Yeah.
All right. This could be frustrating for sure.
Yeah, the reason I've avoided this game is I actually didn't like the itch version, and it seems like all the stuff I didn't like about the itch version is still in the main game, which it sounds like it's just not for me, but
I like it because I enjoy the digging and the randomness, and like when you find stuff, you're like, oh yeah,
You like
I
the
found
loop.
it. Yeah, it's a nice gameplay loop. It's just I think that the economy maybe is just a little bit too much. Like they're asking for too many resources.
Gotcha.
Or maybe they want it to be that way, but it would be nicer if there was like a mode where things were a little bit cheaper, so you could kind of just progress into that power trip a little faster.
Yeah. And I would really like it if they would take every instance of the word rogue like and change it to run based, because there's nothing roguish or like-ish about this video game. But that's been Dome Keeper. Fahloin, do you want to talk to us about Brewmaster?
Brewmaster. Yeah, I can do that. It's kind of, when I saw that game, it was like, yeah, this fits me, because I brew like kombucha and cider and stuff. So I was like, yeah, I have never done beer, so why not? So I try that, and it is what it is. You are a brewmaster. It's a beer brewing simulator. You're in a house. It's a very nice house. You have a kitchen. You have a living room. You have a tasting room, and you basically brew beer. And you do it like, I as I said, I have never done beer, but I kind of know how to do it. And it seems like they have like got the details very good. But you can do it even if you do not know anything about brewing, because it takes you through the process very, very, in a very good way. And they have handled what I really liked about it was the way they handled the time aspect, because you need to have like a lot of waiting times for the fermentations and stuff, and they have done that with a watch on your arm, and also with a calendar. So if you want to go days, you use the calendar. If you want to speed up time, you use the clock. And the UI is very easy to understand and to use, and there's like a storyline in it where you can get jobs that you can do. There's like, oh, this is the autumn fair. We want to have a brown pale ale beer that tastes like this, and then you have to brew a beer like that. And the cool thing is also, what I think is that when you are then tapping the beer on bottles, you can make your own like labels. They have some templates, but you can also make your own, and they are like infinite.
Oh, that's cool.
Ways to do it. Yeah, because and my chat was like, they could easily just leave that part out, just like do the beer brewing stuff and then put it on a barrel and you're done. But they have put in a lot of effort into to also make the labels, and you can put your own name on it, and it's a lot of fun actually. And I haven't come that far, but you can also earn money and buy furnitures for your kitchen and new stuff new brewing stuff, and so you can brew more beer, and you can more like experimenting with tastes and stuff. And there's like it's the depth in the game seems to be very, very deep. So if you are very into beer brewing, I think you really like the game. And if you just like a nice simulator, you will like the game because it's very easy to understand. So I was very positively surprised with the game. I had a lot of fun with it.
There was a pretty amusing headline on PC Gamer a couple days ago that was just like, no matter how hard you try and as much as you lick your screen, no, you can't drink this beer.
I mean, yeah, that's true. There were some occasions where you're like, when you're done with the brewing, you get into the tasting room, and you get like you're putting it on the bottle, and you put the label on, and you have a glass of your beer beside it, and it's like you have those and the water dripping down the glass because the cool beer. And it's like, oh my god, I want one of those. I had to go get a beer when I played it.
I don't think I could play this without a pint.
No,
I need
beer.
Yeah. I had to go get one because it was like, oh my god, this is so I really
tantalizing.
Yeah, it was. It's a good game. I'm not very into simulators because I get bored very easily with games, and but this kept me playing, and I was curious. I'm still curious what I can do with a game because I just scratched the surface of it, and yeah.
You just didn't find the right simulator, or I guess you found it now.
I guess yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
I think that the main issue that I have with simulators generally is they tend to lean a little bit too far in the lol, so random, you dropped a physics object and now it knocked 4 other things over and there's eggs on the floor. That seems to be what a lot of them seem to go in the direction of, and I don't think this is doing that.
No, I don't think so. I didn't experience that at all, actually. But what I did like what I more like, I think what I like with this is that they are like, you should put in 150 grams of yeast in this one, but you can easily put in too much or too little. And I mean, if you put in too much, it's like, okay, it's in there, you cannot get it out. And what you ends up is still a beer, but it gets a different character, and it gets some tastes in there that you might not have thought about. And it's like you end up with another beer, but it's still a beer, and it can still be good. And based on how good the beer is, the more or less money you get from the jobs you are supposed to get, and so on. So I think they did it. It feels like it's some beer really beer enthusiastic people who also happens to be game developers, because they have got this very good, I think.
Do you think that they were brewing beer while they were making this game?
I
think that they
I am
have a home
absolutely
brewing
sure.
setup.
Yeah,
in their
I
office?
think that. Yeah, I think so. And also, this is a fact that I need to like keep alive. But I managed to do the tutorial, and it's not like super easy, but it's kind of like straightforward. But Bloody Drongo did not, and I need to point that out.
Throwing shade at Drongo.
I like Drongo.
I think I need to try this. I don't know if I would stream it, but I do need to try this. This game does look neat.
I think you should. It's a good game. I mean, it's probably not a game that I will like keep playing, like Slay the Spire. I have been playing Slay the Spire since it came out, and I'm still playing Slay the Spire a lot. This will not be a game like that, but I will continue playing it because I want to know more about it, and I'm curious where I can take my beers, to be honest.
There is one thing that I'm a little curious about before we move on to the next game, which is, do you think that this could be used as a learning tool, or is it more of a video game?
I actually think it could, like to some extent, be used as a learning tool, because you follow the recipe for beer brewing pretty well, and the times and stuff are maybe a little bit skewed, and the weights and so on. But it's to get a hunch of what you're doing and what is needed and why you need it. You absolutely learn. And they also go through, like, if you add this, then you will end up with these kind of flavors. And if you add this, then you will end up with these kind of flavors. But if you cook it a little bit too long, then this will happen. This like substance will form in the wort, and that will make the beer this and this. And it's like, so yeah, I think there's a learning. It's an educational simulator in that way, yeah.
All right. So once again, that was Brewmaster, the brewing simulator. I'm going to hijack this podcast now, and I'm going to talk about the kind of one demo from the demos that I've really played, because aside from that, I played like 36 hours of Dwarf Fortress or something this week, and kind of nothing else. Actually, probably I think it's closer to 40 hours of Dwarf Fortress this week. Anyway, so I kind of only really played Manor Lords outside of anything else, which is game solo developed by another person named Greg. As in real life, I am a Greg. This is a game developed by a Greg, so developed by good people that I can trust, who goes by Slavic Magic, and it's published by Hooded Horse, the people behind the recent very successful early access release Terra Invicta. Anyway, so Manor Lords is a 3D city builder, town builder, with this part is not in the demo yet, but in the future we'll have kind of Total War, but on a small scale style combat. Now, Manor Lords has been around for quite some time on Twitter, posting these absolutely gorgeous screenshots on Twitter. This game is very photogenic, I will say, and it lives up to that in game. It is gorgeous. Everything is extraordinarily over animated, and this is a benefit. When you start a house being built, you see the individual logs come out of the wood stock pile, and you see the ox drag the logs to the location where it's going to be built, and then you see them cut up the logs and then lift the planks and then like place them onto the walls, and you see the houses get constructed out of all of the pieces and then pop up into the finished building. Really made me want to go back and play more Ostriv, actually, which is does similar levels of like ridiculously over animating of everything, but like minus the future combat aspect. The demo itself has like kind of the basics of building your town, and lets you kind of get to the point where you're just starting to collect taxes, making clothing, doing some basic trading, which I'm not entirely certain works in the demo. I do know through our source at Hooded Horse, Cormacker, who was on this podcast once before, that the developer kind of stayed up for 2 days to get the demo done, so it doesn't make sense that it's stapled together. The game itself will be launching in early access in kind of not a long period of time. It's like in November, I think, that it's coming out currently, but it's slated for early access soon, and this kind of demo is just kind of scratching the surface of what the game's going to feature, because one of the other things that it shows in the demo but you can't actually interact with is the conquest screen. So when you zoom out, it does this beautiful pan out where you can see the entirety of the countryside, and then you can see your full play area. The play area in the demo isn't huge, it's just one region, but the map itself is made up of a whole bunch of regions, and each region has different materials, has different resources, and you trade with the other towns, the other regions in the area. But there is a kind of almost like stronghold style move into the next region and take over a zone mechanics that are going to be in the full game that I'm very excited to see. So it's just a really pretty solid small town builder in the demo, and I'm very excited to see what it actually ends up being in the full game.
I enjoyed watching people play it.
Yeah,
same.
I tried playing it. It crashed my stream twice.
I didn't try streaming it. I did run into one crash in the demo. It was a startup crash. It was like the second time I went back to go play some more after I recorded footage for YouTube, and I started it up, and it just immediately crashed out to desktop after starting it. But I didn't try streaming it, so I never ran into that issue. I mean, it's pretty demanding. It's kind of like what I've come to. Like it does have a very extensive options menu, which took me a while to find. It's actually quite well hidden, but I don't know, maybe worth twiddling around with that off stream and give it a shot. But it's a neat demo.
It looks really cool.
Like I said, there isn't a huge amount there, but what is there is really solid and kind of takes, I would say, my favorite parts of Foundation in its kind of like, yeah, they just kind of build where you zone it instead of you plopping a building, so everything looks kind of a little bit unique and a little bit procedural, which I really enjoy in city builders. And like I said, really made me just want to go play more Ostriv, because that's the kind of closest thing to it. So maybe I'll do that. That's Manor Lords.
It does look really pretty.
Looking forward to playing more of that.
Yeah, I kind of get that when I watch people play it, I got the same feeling of like you with a stronghold feeling, and also the battle from Total War when you like put up the formations of your troops and stuff. When I see the videos from the game, it's like, yeah, it looks cool.
And I will also remind people that if you want another really good city builder, Songs of Six is really good. But not it's pretty, but in a different way. It's pretty in like a 1999 kind of way instead of a wow, is that real life kind of way. But Jess, do you want to tell me about Masterplan Tycoon's demo?
Yeah, I can. Not exactly a city builder at all, really, but it kind of. No, they're not that similar. So Masterplan Tycoon is I was actually sponsored to play this, so just this is noted, but I actually really enjoyed it. It is a minimalist resource management sim, and you kind of are building a city in theory, but it's much more about your okay, help me out. What's the word? I'm like blanking this morning on everything.
Blueprints? What?
No, goodness gracious. Thanks, brain.
I can trim this all out, don't worry.
I'm completely blanking.
I'm staring at this Steam page and I'm trying to figure out what you're referring to.
Yeah. I don't know. My brain's no. My brain's doing the full ADHD thing, and I cannot think of the word.
Flowchart.
Well, no, not flowchart, but it's fine. So you are focusing more on just making the plans for this city, and it is in a flowchart method. So if you've done like, if you've used like Excel maybe, or Blender, or DaVinci Resolve, that Resolve's Fusion, where you have to kind of give it logic points and like build your insert word that I can't think of. That's what you're doing. So there's like a master screen where you are having this whole logic system built, and then it has like smaller mission screens that you can switch to. And what's really cool is like you can send your resources in and out of these mission areas. And so basically the way you do this is you build a building and then you connect its out node to in nodes for other buildings. And it doesn't really seem like you have to worry about like production times, really. It's mostly just like getting things from one place to another. You can just pick your building cards up and move them, as long as your nodes and stuff, your arrows don't intersect. Like you can just move things all around. And so like you can basically take like one area's output and send it to the out node or the in node for a different region, and then have that region's out node send it to storage. And it's really cool. It's like, I don't know. It was neat.
It sounds fascinating.
I don't know how much replayability it has, but
I watched a little bit of this, and I'll be completely honest, I had no idea what was happening watching it. Like I
didn't really know what was happening like when I got into it, but like once I started playing it, I was like, this is neat.
Okay.
It's very like logic based.
Masterplan Tycoon, maybe go look at it. Might help.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like explaining this stuff, but like when I was looking at the description and all the pictures and stuff, I was like, what is this game? It looks cool. But playing it, I enjoyed it a lot.
It looks like really hipstery project management software.
Yep.
Yep.
I got the feeling too when I watched it. It was like, this is what we do as project managers in my day job.
Oh my gosh, the word production chains. It's not a word, it's a phrase. You're not building cities. You are setting up the production chains to theoretically build a city. There we go. Whew.
Okay. I mean, it's basically a flowchart, but
Yeah.
I mean, it looks cool. I think I'm just going to recommend that people go check this one out. That's Masterplan Tycoon, demo available on Steam as of time of recording. Now, the next one I'm going to call out from your list, Jess, because you've got the biggest list of demos that you played. Dredge. Really curious about this one.
So this one was not on my radar at all. But then FG came into my chat and was like, Dredge is really good. You should try it. And I love digging games. I really don't like fishing games or like fishing mini games. I don't know why. So like this game says like in its first description, this is a single player fishing adventure. And I'm just like, nope. Nope, no thank you.
Then there's me with 200 hours on Fishing Simulator.
Yeah. Well, so but FG was like, it's really, really good. It was my favorite demo out of like all the ones I played today, and I was like, okay, I trust your opinion. I'll try it. So it had a very interesting art style. It kinda like in some ways reminds me of Firewatch a little bit. It's just like the second time today I mentioned Firewatch. And one other game that I can't put my finger on. But basically, like you are arriving in this town because they need a new fisher, and you crash land on the rocks for some reason, like your experience, but like you crash your ship. Why'd you do that? I don't know. So then you have to get a new ship and pay off the debt for that. And so it starts off like pretty like classic. This is why you're here. You can't leave until you pay off your debt. But very quickly spins off into a mystery. So it's a single player fishing adventure, but like very quickly you realize, yeah, you're fishing and you have to do this job of providing fish to the town, but also like what the heck is going on here? And so the demo ends like right as you start getting into it. But in my hour and a half playing it, I ran into some really weird things. Like I got attacked by an anglerfish, like a massive one, and like
I think that screenshot's in there. Looks terrifying.
Yeah, and so it wasn't really like Subnautica scary, like how Subnautica, you know you're being hunted. In this one, it's like something weird's happening here. Oh, I'm being hunted. But okay, sure. It was really cool. Like I would definitely go back and play more of this. It played very smoothly. Like the art is nice. That's my puppy. The
more I look at this, the more it looks kind of Lovecraftian.
Yeah.
It's like it all actually, you know what it's reminding me of? It's reminding me of Sunless Sea.
I was just to say that. It looks like Sunless Sea. It's a terrifying game.
Like maybe like a less wordy, more fishing. Oh, well, obviously fishing focused, because Sunless Sea is more like about transporting stuff from place to place and picking up stuff and blowing things up. But like a fishing focused Sunless Sea. Although there is sun because you're not underground. But looks cool.
I'm not sure what my dogs are barking at, but they're not stopping.
That's okay.
What I was gonna say is the dialogue. I enjoyed the dialogue of like that the NPCs had. The main character's dialogue is a little stunted. Like I hope that they expand on that some, because there are like, you know, conversations you can have. I think it's all just pretty standard, but overall it has a pretty good feel. I know what you mean about the Lovecraftian thing.
Like just from like the screenshots of the big fish underground, like this looks Lovecraftian.
Yeah,
for better
or
for worse.
It was cool. I will definitely play this one.
It looks really neat.
And it's published by Team 17. I didn't even realize that like this was happening.
Team 17, they publish in a lot of good stuff. Yeah, I don't know. This might trigger some like primal fears in me that I don't know if I'm willing to re-experience, but looks really cool. Looks neat. I downloaded the demo. So I'm going to just keep pestering you here, Jess, because you do have two left. Which one would you like to talk about?
Should I talk about, I don't know how much time we have. I can talk about my favorite one, or I can talk about one that okay. I think out of all the demos I tried, my favorite was actually Storyteller. And I believe I heard Kiri say that too. I'm not positive now that I said that, but that one is really interesting. The demo was incredibly short, like way shorter than I would have liked, like 20 minutes. But it is a reactive puzzle game. And so pretty much you get a certain number of frames that you're trying to tell a story through, and it gives you certain elements, like the people who are in this story and like the scenes that are taking place, and like a few other things, right? Like poison. Yeah, poison. That's the only one I can think of. I had a lot of fun with poison. And you put all these elements together in like an if-then kind of fashion to write a story. And it's really cool because if you make one frame tell a certain story, then all the other frames will react to it. And if you remove the frame, then they react to that as well. So like if you have two characters meet and fall in love in one frame, but then remove it further down the line, like those characters won't recognize each other. And it's really cool. And I cannot wait for this one. I love puzzle games, and if we haven't realized by now, but just the way that you can just tell a story in all these different ways, it gives you like an objective, like two people fall in love or double heartbreak or something like that. Or tell the story of Romeo and Juliet, and they just give you the elements and you have to write it. And I had people in chat saying that they also played this demo and, got the same results as I did with entirely different stories. So it seems like there's all sorts of different ways that you can go about solving the puzzles. And it was just really cool. I want more, like, soon, please.
Once again, Annapurna Interactive with games that just look way better than they have any right to be.
Yes.
They've got so many coming up right now that I'm just like, I want that, I want that, I want that, I want that. Jeez.
It looks simple, right? Like, it doesn't seem like it should be anywhere near as good. I think it's just the way that all the elements, like I said, it's like an if-then kind of thing. So like
Absolutely.
Everything down the line reacts to the changes, and it's really cool. And
I need to try that. That looks neat.
Yeah,
I didn't even know about
really
that.
Interesting. Annapurna is so they have given us so many good games. One of my absolute favorite games, all times.
Which one was one of your absolute favorite games?
What remains of Edith Finch? It's also
same.
Annapurna.
Yeah.
It's so
Phenomenal.
Good. Yeah.
Phenomenal.
Storyteller, interesting.
Yeah, noted. They've published multiples of my favorite games of all time, like just running through their list. I mean, What Remains of Edith Finch, Gorogoa, Donut County, Florence, Unfinished Swan, I Am Dead are all like, probably top 30 best favorite games I've ever played. So yeah, no, they've got quite the track record, and looking forward to a bunch of their releases actually, but I guess I'll have to add this one to the list because I wasn't aware of it.
I cannot wait for this one. I hope it just gets better. Like, the demo was really enticing, and my just talking about it in chat, or a lot of people said that they really, really enjoyed it and are heavily anticipating it. So I think that this is going to be a bigger one.
Speaking of a bigger one, I think it's time for us to go to news. We do have a couple stories to talk about, so I think we are going to jump into that now. And when we come back from this short break, we're going to be talking about news. Okay, so let's go to a quick break. We'll be right back.
Hello everybody, I'm FG Squared over on twitch.tv. I play a wide variety of games Mondays through Fridays, starting at 9 a.m. BST, which is 4 a.m. Eastern, 1 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Central European Time. So come on over and check me out. See you soon!
And we're back with the third and final segment of the Halcyon Frequency podcast. It's stuff in the news. So this first one, I'll be honest, kind of made me go, huh. And then they're doing another one? Cool. And then I just kind of stopped thinking about it. But there's a new Rimworld DLC, which everybody seems to be very excited about.
Well, there's also a new update.
Yes.
As well as the new DLC. I'm super on the fence about the biotech thing, though. It's called biotech. It doesn't start with an M. Everyone thought it was going to start with an M. It's a B. It's Rimworld now.
Yes, it's Rimworld. Mm-hmm. So why are you torn on biotech? I'm curious to know your take.
Well, okay. Biotech. I haven't really looked at it super closely. I've just been focusing more on 1.4 stuff. But it's going to be introducing like a lot of what seems to be like glitter world tech. So like Rimworld, for instance, you progress through your technology, and towards the end of your tree and everything, you start unlocking and having access to like a high, like very sci-fi like things, armor, weapons, medicine, and
Battle
there's
armor.
like Yeah, there's like Glitter World, which you can't make, but you can buy it. And so it seems like biotech is just definitely expanding on this idea. So mechanoids are my least favorite thing in Rimworld, and now there's this whole expansion on their mechanics. You can make them, I think, or tame them. It's like what the heck, but actually integrated now. And you can have mechanoid pets. They can defend you, and raiders can have them as well. And there's a whole new pollution element that you have to take care of and deal with. I don't even know how I feel about. I don't even know how I feel about this because mechanoids. I even told my chat like I'll play Rimworld and turn off mechanoids.
Yeah.
No, I can't do it. And now there's gene modding.
I know.
And
it's
also,
so good.
Yeah. So it's like what the hack meets what was that gene modding one that they had? The mods, I mean, what the hack, and I don't know. And also children. I'm super torn on adding children to Rimworld. And so what I've seen is that Tynan and Ludian Studios have wanted to add children for a long time because families tell the best stories, or like the aspects of a family can lead to the best stories. But children in Rimworld, like, oh, it makes me feel icky.
The thing that bothers me about kids in Rimworld is about the way time works in Rimworld. Like, time's pretty slow, and I want kids to grow up in a believable fashion. Is it going to take 15 years for them to be, like, functional adults, or are they just going to be like The Sims, where they spend a year as a baby, a year as a child, and then a year as an adult?
I don't know, but apparently you have to, like, teach them things and give them lessons and
I mean,
actually like have schools and stuff, I think. And that's cool and all, but also I'm just thinking about all the terrible things that people are going to do.
like Dwarf Fortress has kids in it, right? Like the dwarves have kids, all the different characters in the game, and any animal in the game more or less can have kids. Some of them are a little weird, like dragons are born full or grown, but you don't even worry about it. Same with hydras. Hydras are born full grown as well. But like the thing with Dwarf Fortress is there's certain things that you just can't do, right? You can't tell the dwarves to butcher another dwarf. But what you can tell what the dwarves can do is a dwarf can get really, really, really pissed and then murder somebody and make something out of them, but then they usually go to prison for life. So there is that aspect in other games like this. But I'm kind of with you. I don't know. The kind of the intentional edginess of Rimworld is kind of rubbed off on me in a very negative way over the past few years.
Yeah, I don't know. It really depends on how it's implemented. Like, I really hope there's boundaries around like what can be done, because I'm sure that will be modded out anyways. I don't know. I'm just there are so many things I can just think of that I don't want to utter here, but
Fahloin's just like sitting here trying not to laugh, going, yes, I'm beautiful.
Yeah, no, but I mean, I haven't played. I have 150 hours in Rimworld, and about 90% of those are naked brutality. So I don't really know the game the way you does, but I have like 9,000 hours watching FG play it. But this new DLC, what like grabs me here, because I did my PhD on evolutionary genetics, so I was like, oh my god, this is so cool. We can do genetics in here. It's like, so I was like, oh yeah. But I'm on your track there, Jess, with the kids. I was like thinking about what you can do in Rimworld and all like the crazy stuff you can do there. It's like, do I want to see that be done to children? Is that where we want to go? But yeah, and the mechanoids, I'm with you with that, Jess. I'm not a fan of those in Rimworld as it is. So yeah,
maybe they'll be different. Like once they can be your pets, like
yeah, maybe
fight fire with fire. But
yeah,
Did you know that in Dwarf Fortress, the dwarves can inherit the visual traits of their parents and their mannerisms?
Cool. I like that.
And you can have entire factions that look different because they have certain strong genetics. You'll join one faction, it'll be like, everybody looks like this. And then you'll join a different faction, and everybody looks like this. And then you get an immigrant that looks totally different and has a different hairstyle. And you're like, where'd you come from? And then it turns out they're a vampire that infiltrated the faction and like has been alive for 1,000 years.
So this is what I like with a game.
Dwarf Fortress is fun. Speaking of things that are fun, CD Projekt is doing some very ambitious things. Co-founder of CD Projekt Red, Marcin, I'm not even going to try and say his last name. Polish names. Who co-founded CD Projekt Red in 1994, is leaving the company, sort of. He's stepping down from being CEO. And he's moving to kind of overseer of a new studio that they're opening in Boston. And they've announced a new trilogy of Witcher games, as well as some spin-offs and a sequel to Cyberpunk, as well as a DLC for Cyberpunk.
And a DLC. And wasn't there one more thing, too?
Was there? Did I miss something? I said spin-offs for Witcher.
They have a whole new IP.
Right, yes. Unannounced IP that they are also working on. An entirely new project, yes, of some sort. Thanks, PC Gamer article. So I'm staring at this article by Andy Chalk on PC Gamer, which of course will be linked here. And so the kind of the thing that they say about the Witcher thing is they're planning on releasing 3 Witcher games in 6 years. You know what this reminds me of? Remember when James Cameron's like, man, it would be a good idea for me to make 6 more Avatar movies.
Yeah.
That's what that sounds like.
I don't know. Like, maybe they've got it all together now after everything, like Cyberpunk and the really embarrassing launch, and now they pulled it all together again, and maybe they just have 6 years of Witcher content ready to go.
I highly doubt it's ready to go, but you know what this feels like to me? This feels like, man, this studio kind of completely obliterated their entire reputation with the release of Cyberpunk, right? And they've been working to, like, square that, right? Like, to give them credit, like, they've been putting effort into fixing that game. There's still, like, a lot of weirdness with the writing in it, and, like, the story is not that good, but it is a... For the people who like that game, it's an interesting world to just kind of exist in. Similar to like Skyrim. Like nobody plays the main quest in Skyrim. You play Skyrim to walk around in Skyrim. You don't play Skyrim to play Skyrim, right? And that very much kind of seems like what Cyberpunk is turning into. It's like a sort of a modding sandbox. It's a really big, expansive game, and they're working on it. So kind of got to give them credit where credit's due. But they completely obliterated their reputation, but also made $1 bajillion. That game sold 20 million copies, which is unfathomable amounts of money. And this reads to me like, hey, if we announce a whole bunch of stuff and be really ambitious, it'll boost our stock prices. And you know what it did? It boosted their stock prices. So I wonder if this is going to actually come out as quickly as they say, especially with the Witcher stuff. But the thing that does actually interest me, though, is one of the spin-offs for The Witcher that is being made is coming from Flame in the Flood developers, which I'm blanking on the name of the studio right now.
The Molasses Flood?
Molasses Flood, yes, that is correct. So
Thanks, Hero Gamer article.
Yes, they are one of the studios that's working on a spin-off, which, to anybody here who's played the Flame in the Flood, I did way long time ago. It's kind of a survival top-down game where you have to get down a river on a raft. And it's very, very pretty and very good music and very entertaining. And it's neat to see that studio making something else, considering the last thing they put out was 2016. So it's been quite some time.
Yeah, it seems like there's a lot of Witcher content coming out.
Guess I need to play
it's a
the
good
Witcher
time to
game.
probably play. Yeah, I was gonna say I gotta play them now, and maybe watch
honestly,
the show.
And this comes from somebody who tried to play The Witcher 2, and never really got around to Witcher 3, play Witcher 3. Just skip the
Yeah.
first two. The first two are,
That's what I've heard. Just skip them.
yeah, skip the first two. Please,
Yeah, I've
just
heard
play
that
Witcher
too.
3.
Yeah.
I've watched most of Witcher 3 in a Let's Play. Just play Witcher 3. It's pretty standalone. Considering like they did try to rebrand Witcher 3 from Witcher 3 to Witcher Wild Hunt. So, you know. Go
Yeah,
play
you're
Wild
right.
Hunt.
They did. For a while, I thought that it was like a DLC or something.
Really? So on very, very important news, we now know what Mario's going to sound like. Sort of.
Like, isn't it Chris Pratt?
Yes. Did either of you watch this trailer? This new
I
Mario
did.
trailer?
But I don't even know who Chris Pratt is. I just know it's Chris Pratt. Okay, this guy.
Oh, you don't? You're
Oh,
not
it's
aware
Andy.
of who Chris Pratt is? By
It's
face?
Andy from Parks and Recreation, right?
I've never seen Parks and Rec, but I think he's in that. So yeah, that would check out. He's Star-Lord. That's the easy reference. So we have a trailer for the new Super Mario Brothers movie, animated by Illumination, and of course, famously voiced by Chris Pratt. Personally, I'm disappointed that Donkey Kong didn't make an appearance in this trailer because that is voiced by my favorite Seth Rogen, which is perfect. I'll have you know. A lot of people got mad about a lot of the casting. That the Donkey Kong casting is perfect. Okay, you can't change my mind on that. But I don't know. This looks lovely. The animation. Mario doesn't sound anything like Mario. He just kind of sounds like Chris Pratt putting on a crappy Italian accent. But there is a French version of this trailer because all of Illumination's films also release in French. I just want to say that I think French Mario sounds more like Mario than English Mario.
Yeah, I think so too. I watched both.
So also the penguins in the trailer, who I can never remember the name of in Mario lore, so forgive me, sound hilarious in French. Like,
Yeah, I think the whole trailer was just better in French.
so like I would recommend watching the Super Mario Brothers movie French trailer. It's kind of awesome. The English one, I'll probably watch this movie. It looks fine. Last thing we kind of have on the news list here is there's a Dwarf Fortress trailer in the editing room right now. That's it.
I like that.
They're editing.
I've been waiting for that for a long time.
They're editing a Dwarf Fortress trailer.
That's nice.
I'm starting to like be genuinely convinced it's gonna be out this year. When? But
I'm getting impatient with it, and I'm like, maybe I should just try it anyway.
I mean, I can help. Whatever it's worth.
Imagine if you knew someone, Jess, that plays the game.
Oh yeah, what? I wonder who.
Weird. I mean, I could get you set up with, DF hack and get you set up with text will be text, so you can see multiple Z levels, and get you set up with Vettelinger's tile set. But the problem is, like, you'd get all that stuff set up and play it, and then it'll be out in a month and a half or something.
Yeah, that's why I keep waiting. But I'm just getting impatient. I don't know. I keep watching people play, and then I want to play. It sounds
Watching
cool.
people, you mean me?
Yeah.
Does anybody else play Dwarf Fortress?
Yeah, actually.
Really? I guess it's like just me and Sal, really.
Yeah.
But,
That's who I'm thinking of.
Yeah, no, it's a fun game, but I would wait. The learning curve will be a lot softer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm impatient. I want it right now. Right now.
Calm down, Veronica Salt. Because no, Daddy, I want it now. I think that's pretty much everything for news, unless there's something that I've missed. So I think I'm going to take us to the end part of this show, which is some people's favorite part of the show, which is where we tell people where they can find our stuff and who we are. So I'm going to let our guest take the floor, and this is your final opportunity to reintroduce yourself and tell people where they can find you and the content that you create on the internet.
Oh, wow. All right. So you can find me everywhere as Fahloin, Fahloin. So it mainly is Twitch. So twitch.tv/Fahloin. And you can find me on Twitter at Fahloin. And you can find my podcast at ActiveCast. It's on all platforms and YouTube and Spotify. I think that's pretty much it.
And Jess?
I'm Jess, and you can find me on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Discord, as Jess. Sometimes there's an underscore. I'm inconsistent, but somebody has my name.
And I'm Blind. You can find me at BLINDIRL on almost all platforms. And aside from that, if you want to find more episodes of this podcast, halcyonfrequency.com. If you don't find this podcast in places where organic podcasts are harvested from the podcast trees, please let me know and I will make it appear there. I think we should show up pretty much everywhere. If the place that you happen to listen to podcasts allows you to leave it a review, please do that. And even if you don't listen to it on iTunes, iTunes reviews are like the actual best thing you can do to support podcasts. And it's like pulling teeth to get them. So if you want to leave us a review on iTunes, I even if I don't know who you are, I will be thanking the high heavens for those iTunes reviews. I think we're a 5-star podcast, but frankly, whatever works at this point. And if you want to ask us questions about the podcast, you can do that on the Halcyon Frequency Discord, which can be found via our website, halcyonfrequency.com. Thank you very much for listening. We'll be back next Sunday. Until next week, don't touch that dial. This is Halcyon Frequency, signing off.
That was a power down.